वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की fateh. So today, the topic for the first GNA Talks is Naam Connects. And what I plan to do is first try to give you of an idea of what Guru Maharaj Ji has presented to us in Gurmat about Naam. What does it say about the subject of Naam? And then throughout the course of the lecture, hopefully we'll get a bit of a deeper understanding. Because really it sits with understanding. If you lack that understanding, then there's a lack of appreciation as well. So deepening the understanding, and then there's also a positive effect where the appreciation deepens. And then along with it, hopefully respect also deepens as well. Nowadays, what happens is when we don't have that understanding, when we lack that understanding, I consider it pretty much just as a baby animal sitting in the wilderness and is going to be attacked by a predator. In the Panth right now, what happens is time to time, when people haven't tried to learn and gain that knowledge of what our Gurus presented, then what happens is anybody can sway them in any direction. And one topic generally that comes up very commonly is on the topic of Naam. The technique they use is that they'll redefine it. And then they'll tell you this is the manner and technique that you should do the job as. And then in doing so, at the same time they'll shred up certain parts of our ityas and also push away certain bani and say that these aren't our bani. And this technique works in Kali Yuga. I had a first-hand experience when I was in the hospital doing my practicum. I got to attend a lecture, and it was a doctor presenting an article. And I knew by the end of my practicum, I had to present an article as well. So I thought it was a great learning experience that if I'm sitting here, I can watch what he does and use the same methodology when it comes time for me to present, because there's going to be doctors, nurses, and so forth. What happened is that I saw him and he just pretty much shredded the paper apart. He said this was wrong with it, this was wrong with it, this was wrong with it, this is wrong with it. And then when I was talking with a couple of the colleagues that I was attending with, they said that, oh, well, it was a beautiful job that he did. I would have totally taken this article and said that this is legitimate, this is what I should go by. I did the same. I took an article and I ripped it apart. I pretty much said that this is wrong and this is why you shouldn't go by it. And the doctors were all impressed and the nurses were all impressed. I said, this is our technique. This is the technique that's happening on our Panth right now. On this one subject in particular, but there are many other subjects as well. And that's why, as the youth collecting here, and even our grown-ups, the people that are elderly, that we are understanding enough that if somebody says something, say they know Guru Sahib's given us a straight path, and it doesn't need to be redefined or reinvented and twisted in a different manner. So that's the real purpose of this lecture, and throughout the course of what Guru Maharaj Ji said himself, hopefully it will become apparent on which way we need to connect with Naam. So the objective really, to center it down again, because these GNA talks will have an objective. You're trying to leave with something today. You're not here for Manoranjan. This is not an entertainment show. You all came here with the purpose of trying to gain something. At least I hope you have come for it. Not for because somebody else is attending, because that you sincerely have come wanting to learn something and take with you. That's the whole concept of listening, learning, and practicing. Keep an open mind as well, and try to embed this stuff. And if there's anything that is ambiguous and you can't understand it very clearly, then you can approach me after the lecture. So, where will we start? If this objective is going to work, then we have to start with Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. When we go into the darbar of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it's a very common practice of what we do is we wash our hands, wash our feet, we go into the darbar, ਆਪਾਂ ਮੱਥਾ ਟੇਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, do prakarma, and then whatever's in our mind, some will talk to Guru Maharaj Ji, ਜਾਂ ਫਤਿਹ ਬੁਲਾ ਕੇ, that is gupt with every individual. But Maharaj Ji ਦਾ ਫਰਮਾਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨੋ ਸਭ ਕੋ ਵੇਖਦਾ, ਜੇਤਾ ਜਗਤ ਸੰਸਾਰ, ਡਿਠੈ ਮੁਕਤ ਨ ਹੋਵਈ, ਜਿਚਰ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਨ ਕਰੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ. The last part is where I want to draw your focus. That you come into the Divan, everybody gets a chance to see Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, who's their true Satguru. And Ditthai Mukta Na Hove, Guru Maharaj Ji the Pramana, just by looking upon Guru Maharaj Ji, don't expect liberation to just be handed out to you. And liberation is not that easy, and it's not that, don't devalue it either. You have to earn it. Kaal kamai karni pendi hai. And that kaal kamai comes with the next part of the shabd, that sabd na kare vichar, jichar, jinne char tak, shabd di vichar nahi hundi. Now vichar and shabd is what we're going to get into, because throughout the course of this lecture, Naam and shabd will be used synonymously. I'll flip in between, because the context that Guru Maharaj Ji will be mentioning him in the shabds that I've chosen, will be that you could change him synonymously, right? The idea is to really look behind the letters that Guru Maharaj Ji has given our eyes to do darshan of. What's the force behind it? People understand that when they're matha taking, that their mind is supposed to matha take as well. So vichar, there's a lot of translations of vichar, but the one that I want you to carry with you throughout this is self-inquiry. The shabd is presented with you. You take that from Guru Maharaj Ji and you look towards yourself. You inquire who you are. So I want to start with a little small story of Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Sare aapko ji Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Maharaj Ji ne ki nahi sade vaste kita. Maharaj Ji had traveled so many places, and that traveling distance in between, I want to draw your focus to. Imagine that traveling time. Imagine the times that Maharaj Ji would spend the night on the ground on a jungle floor, which none of us probably have experienced. Maybe there is somebody, but not at the amount that Guru Nanak Dev Ji had done. That's why appe muh nikalna chahiye se Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, for what jagat jalandhar rakhna. Maharaj Ji is going out not for any niji swaarth, that there is a world burning up. Jat anbani visar jaye, jo pakka rogi vilalai. The world is crying out. Even if they're not diseased on the outside, they're diseased on the inside. They're crippled. Their avastha is crippled. And they're calling out in depression. And Guru Maharaj Ji hears those calls, and to address those calls, gets two companions with him. One a minstrel, and one that would do seva and take account of all the stories so they could be told for future generations as well. Bhai Mardana would be a main character in a lot of the stories as well. And he would ask a lot of questions to Guru Nanak Dev Ji while they would be traveling. And Bhai Mardana would say, Guruji, I hear you, and Naam is all you sing about and preach. Then why, having a valuable human life, still people do not embrace it? Why? There's a lot of people that come to the Gurdwara and they hear Naam, 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 but why don't they embrace it? That was the sawal that Bhai Mardana had for Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And they asked this to Guru Maharaj Ji. And growing up, what I was given as a definition of Naam, and I would hear Kathayavachik say it, and it was a very simple definition. Remember, my job here, even if I translate Gurbani in a different way, it's not to say that the other translations don't stand. And at the same time, that when I do talk regarding certain, like the example that I was given was that Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Mool Mantra, Gur mantra, ye sara naam roop hi hai. And that's perfectly all right. And it's true. But it still kind of doesn't make sense. How is all naam? What is naam? And if you do ask these questions, then some people don't know. They'll direct you towards the Panj Pyare, or they'll say that these are things that should be only touched upon if you have a hind avastha, a hind spirituality. And then you're left with nothing. But preliminary stuff, kat to kat, we can discuss. Well, this question was asked, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji said that people have intoxicated themselves with Maya's wine. And they are in a deep trance. Their minds don't heed to Nam. Their minds don't even cling to Nam. Their minds are already sticky. Their minds are so sticky that whatever people are throwing at them is getting attached to their mind, and for the rest of the day, they're toiling on these kind of things. Naam visar Maya mad piya. They've forgotten Naam. And what are they doing in the place of Naam? As they're drinking the wine of Maya. Maharaj said this to Bhai Mardana. Just want to go back. One more thing that I wanted to mention is that this story about what Bhai Mardana asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji later on took form. What do I mean by took form? Is that later on, at a later time, there was Bhai Mardana and he was asking Guru Maharaj Ji that I can't go on. I can't go any further. My legs are giving out. Why Mardana? And Mardana would answer and say that I'm hungry. I've been in for several days and my legs don't have enough strength to go on. I think this is my end. I can't go on. Maharaj Ji said, Hausla rakh Mardana. Itte shahar aun lag gaya. Oda naam hai Viswambarpur. Now by the name of Patna Sahib. That the city is coming up. And he said that even if the city comes, Guru Maharaj, I have no money by my side. How am I supposed to bring food out? Guru Nanak Dev Ji looked at the ground and at the sand of the ground and took his pada angutha and he started moving the sand like this. And he said to Bhai Mardana, Akho Satnam Sri Vahe Guru Sahib Ji Satnam Sri Vahe Guru Sahib Ji. Ek amolak ratan paida ho gaya zameen de vich. It wasn't there before. The touch of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the power of Shabd, ne ek amolak ratan paida kar ditta zameen de vich. Bhai Mardana picked it up and he looked at it for a moment and then he put it in his kamra kasa. And when they came to the outskirts of the town, he was sent in to go and look for a sauda that he can either get money and get food from it. He would go to different stores. Some of you might even be familiar with this story. So Bhai Mardana went. He went to first the place that has food. It was a vegetable grocer selling vegetables. And he said that, just give me 2 radishes. Bhai Mardana's like, give me 2 radishes for this stone. He said, that's not worth 2 radishes. Go on, I'm not giving you any food. You're not going to get anything with that stone. But oda part khuni siyo. He didn't have an eye for that stone and its qeemat. He went on. He went to a clothes merchant. He said, I'll give you a yard of wool. He said, I can't do anything with that. And plus, that's not food. I won't be even be able to sell it and get food for that. No, I'm going to go further. He kept going on with the parosa of Guru Nanak Dev Ji in his heart. And then he eventually came to a jeweler's shop. The jeweler's shop was owned by Salis Rai. Salis Rai was talking with another servant that worked in his dukaan that he used to pay. His name was Adrakka. Adrakka was talking to him, telling him that, I don't understand how you can see jewels right away and say that this is the qeemat of this one, this is the qeemat of this one, this is the value of this one, this is the value of that one. How can you do that? And he says it's experience and hard work and labor. And then what happens is an intuition forms. Anubhav hon lag janda. He's telling him things about business, but that business can even apply spiritually. Jere naam ke vapari hai. Salis Rai was going to become an actual stone jeweler and become a naam ratan keemat. Onne soda pa ke keemat kharidni si, he's going to take it in. So Salis Rai is talking in this way, and another person comes and said that there's a man here and he has a stone and he wants you to assess its value. So he comes out. First thing, he looks at it and he's amazed as his mouth drops. He goes in for closer inspection, picks it up, takes out a magnifying glass, looks at it, puts it down, and quickly takes whatever money is in his hand and places it on the table in front of Bhai Mardana. And he says, 100 rupee. Back then that was a lot. Bhai Mardana said that, oh, sure, that's fine. I'll take the 100 rupee. And then he was returning the jewel back to him too. He says, that, what kind of trade is this? You're giving me the jewel back and you're giving me the money. And he said that, no. You want to know the keemat of this? This is way beyond millions. I can't afford that. That money that I gave to you is just for having darshan and just for seeing the sight of that jewel. Bhai Mardana would take the money and the jewel, go back to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and he said that we don't need the money, Bhai Mardana, go return it back to him. Bhai Mardana is still hungry at this point, goes back, and he goes and returns the money, and by that point Salis Rai says, this Mahapurush hai koi tyagi hoga. I should do darshan of him. So what does he do? He prepares food, takes it out to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Sun Salis Rai, tu jawri. He says that, listen Salis Rai, you're a jeweler. You sell jewels, you assess their value. Apna lal pashan. That recognize your own jewel that's sitting inside of you. What is Mayaji put inside of us? And this part of the story I'm going to stop and go forward a little bit. And we need a little bit. We need to start from the beginning, Naam 101. And when I mean beginning, I mean the beginning of the universe. And I used to be very keen on trying to learn about the beginning of the universe. One such novel is the whole series of Narnia. And I'm sure some of you guys are familiar that have gone through the schooling here. Is that The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Well, the first novel in that series is called The Magician's Nephew. And there's this one scene in there where the main characters go into a dimension. And that dimension is not created yet. God comes in the form of a lion. God comes in the form of a lion and sings or produces a noise that nobody has ever witnessed before. And that noise goes throughout and sets all of creation in its place. I thought it was amazing. And these kind of things you would hear people talk about. But to the degree that Guru Maharaj has shared with us, has very openly discussed that creation. Where we hear in the Bible, the biblical reference is about the 7 days. God took 7 days to create the universe. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji tells us, Karatana lagi var. Var ek hafta hi nahi lagya Guru Maharaj. That time only Guru Maharaj knew. But Maharaj assures them it didn't take 7 days. So, when we read in Sukhmani Sahib, Naam ke tare sagle jant, Naam ke tare khand brahmand, that through the word of Par Brahm, Naam, here I'm translating as word, through the word of Par Brahm, all creation adorned life. And through the word of Par Brahm, the realms, the universes all came into being. All came into being. To move forward, Paramatma Ekta, Nirankara, He's formless. The Nirgun Swarup is formless. But if the universe is going to be created, it happens with one thought of Paramatma. And that thought is Maya. And how is it produced? that when I used to read the literature of Bhai Pardeep Singh, it always used to come up that there's Naam and Nami. And this is what we need to understand. Nami is the source of Nam. There's the source and there's Nam. Can you say what the word is Nam is not Paramatma? No. Both of these are Nirankar. They are not separate. They are still one. So remember that Nami, Paramatma, and Nam, the word is Paramatma as well. But before, in a pre-creation state, Paramatma has not revealed the Shabd. The Shabd is with Paramatma, but has not revealed it. So, we hear about Arbada Narbada Tundukara. For countless ages there was utter darkness as unmanifest energy in a pre-creation state. And then Nirankar Akar Hoy. This is by Gurdas Ji. Listen very close to the Shabdavali, the words that Bhai Gurdas Ji chooses to move forward in this. Nirankar Akar Hoy. The formless God decided to take up a form. Nirankar, the formless God, decided to take up a form, that one thought that I mentioned. Then what happened? He changes from Nirankar to Ekankar, meaning that the Shabd that he's using, he chooses instead of Bhai Gurdas Ji says, now I'm going to use the name Ekankar. And then Ekankar, if you split it up as Ek means 1 point and Kar means creation. He called upon a pre-creation state of Ekankar, or singularity, of 1 point where everything would be created. And then you see Ekankar ho Hahenu Onkar. Hahede Onkar, na? That Hahede Onkar means from. From this state, the word of God, Savada Tonna Oankar, and that memorized. Savada Tonna Oankar. Can everybody say it with me? Savada Tonna Oankar. The word of God as a sound, Ton, as Oankar. The word of God as a sound, Ton, Oankar, arised. And I'm going to stop right here, because one time I got a question. It was a question that made me inquisitive and start looking at things over and over again, trying to understand. And that was that how is sound produced in space? You need a medium. Like right now, I'm speaking. It's going through the speaker. And what is it traveling by? Sound energy is traveling through a medium, which is air. And it's going to ears, which are sensory organs that have been placed on your head. And that is of flesh. And it translates it into a nerve signal, goes to your brain, interprets it, and so forth. That's Ahat Shabds. That's Ahat Shabds. Bamarji said Ad, Anil, Anad, Anahat. Anahat is what we're interested in here. Ahat is what needs a medium. You clap, the sound that's produced is Ahat. Bamarji chose to use a word called Anahat. And you'll hear Anahat Bani. And that Anahat is how Omkar, that Ton is Anahat. It does not need any medium. It does not need anything. Koi vichola chaida nahi. Nobody in between, nothing in between. It's unstruck. It goes by itself. That is the sound. So when I say sound, it's really us trying to make sense of it, but then don't really think of it as a sound. We're just using our little head, right? And whatever it can fathom, and we're trying to place it as a translation of what's being explained. However, it's way beyond that. That's why you have to appreciate that something's being explained, but don't end up thinking there's a limit to it. And then what happened? Akar Banaya. And then we're all familiar, even in science, they mention the Big Bang Theory, right? Prathame Oankar Tin Kaha, Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Prathame Oankar Tin Kaha, So Ton Pur Jagat Mora. In the beginning, Oankar was said. And then this sound spread and filled the whole cosmos and filled the whole universe. And we hear in Dakhini Omkar, when this Omkar is going through the universe as Naam Ton, what's also being said is that Omkar Brahma Utpat. This is a translation I've taken from Bhai Pardeep Singh now. Okay? There's other translations as well you can interpret this as, but this is what I'm going by for now. With Omkar, the creation came about. Omkar kiya janachit. With Omkar, it gave consciousness, that awareness that sits inside of you, that tells you that you're looking, that you're blinking, that you're hearing, you're tasting. It's sitting behind your sensory organs. That consciousness is within everything. And that consciousness was given through Omkar. Omkar sal jug pae. Sal, the akriya gapad, mountain rock. And jug is like how you would say Treta, Jug, Dwapar. But the translation that's being hinted through here that Bhai Veer Singh has derived, he says, with Omkar came forth land and time. Omkar Ved Narme. Omkar created the Vedas. Meaning, Bob, you can take out of his wisdom. Wisdom that people could go by, that they could take in and derive. Omkar Sabad Udare. With Omkar, the sacred word, one is liberated. Omkar Gurmukh Tare. With Omkar, Gurmukhs are transported across this ocean of existence. Onam Akhar Sunho Bichar. Listen to the translation of what people have called Om. They heard Om, but Maharji elaborated and said it's Omkar. And he says that it can be placed into letters, and this sound can be produced when you're saying it. He said, Onam Akhar Sunho Bichar. Onam Akhar Tirpavanasar. Now, Tirpavanasar, that means that whatever you see, before there used to be a classic way of saying that whatever is above you, whatever is on land, and whatever is below you, they used to say Tripavan. Tripavan also means just whatever is around you. Whatever is around you, everything has Nam as its Adar. Nam is sitting within it and supporting it. Nam is way beyond what we can explain. But now, let's bring it home here now. If you look across the night sky, those stars that are blinking, everything has Naam within it. Jeta kita, teta naam. Jitna bhi pasara banaya, sare de vich naam. Is there even one place, Guru Maharaj, that doesn't have Naam? Vin nave, nai ko thao. There's not even one place that doesn't have Naam. This has been translated many ways, but Jo Brahmande, whatever you see in the universe and whatever is in the realms that you see in the night sky, as far as you can capture in your eyes, that even if you go further with whatever pictures that are produced through satellites, Jo Brahmande, Soi Pinde, within this town, within this village, this body, that exists as well. If Naam exists in the Brahman, Naam ke tare sagle jant, Naam ke tare khand Brahman, then that in that Brahman, Soi Pinde, that also exists within this town or this village, which is this body, and so jo khoja, so pave, the ones that search, they will be able to find it. But that's the method that we need to elaborate on, try to figure out. But don't worry, Guru Maharaj has everything set forward for the Gursikh Jigyasus that want to learn this method and find that Naam. That hole that sits inside of you, that's not filled with either food or friends or even you doing whatever sort of entertainment that you want. It's not filled, it's still empty. It's because day by day, Maya robs us and leaves us more and more crippled. And Maya has Shaktiya, Maya has powers. Maya wants to question the existence of Paramatma. The closer you go in relationship with Guru Sahib, the closer you will get to learning the methodology that Guru Maharaj has set about searching for this Naam. That Guru Maharaj has set inside of you. That's the solution for all your cures. Naam is the bridge that connects. So Naam connects. Nam is the bridge that connects. And remember how we started out, we mentioned Nami, the source. And Nami is the source that revealed the word, revealed the Shabd, revealed the Nam. So, that's a Vyapak Nam. Vyapak means universal. I've already discussed this, that Nam is everywhere. Jeta Kita Teta Nam. In the 19th 40 of Japji Sahib, the mention. Vin Nave Nai Ko Thao, that Nam. And now I also say, Jo Brahmande Soi Pinde. It's within this body as well. How do you know about that? You need Guru Sahib Ji. There are people that will tell you this and then they just want to follow him. They want you to kind of tag along with them. And this I've represented as Akhri Naam. Akhri Naam, Akhri Salah. That Akhri Naam, Akhri means Akkhan jere darshan kar sakde hain. With these eyes, that you can look upon and say, yes, those letters coming together is gurbani. That Akhri Naam, that Guru Maharaj Ji has preserved, Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Akhri Naam, abhyas karke, if you bring it close to you, then there's another key part of this that is still going to be mentioned. So I'm going to just go a little bit further and tell you what Bhai Veer Singh says. Now this is a Brahmgyani, a Mahapurush. He's placed it in writing for the future generations. Let's try to explore his writings. His writing has Naam also immersed in there. He was pijavya with Naam and he was soaking it into his writings as well. But don't misinterpret what I'm saying. Is Gurbani is the source that you need to use to find Naam. But jadon pyas bhi lage about reading other stuff, this is the writings that you should turn to. That will give you that inspiration and boost. Bhai Veer Singh. Bhai Veer Singh has drawn, if you look at his Japji Sahib Tika in the 19th 40, he said that Akhri Naam, Akhri Salah, that Akhri Naam needs to be repeated and practiced. It needs to be brought closer to you by repeating and practicing it. And then that universal Naam is reached. That universal Naam. Now, if we go back to this picture, I'll have to tell you, somebody might say that, well, which one is Maharaji talking about? Is it Akhri Naam, universal Naam? Don't separate them either. Remember I said Nami and Naam is all one, it's Paramatma. Now if I say Akhri Naam and universal Naam, that's still Naam. If you take one part of the bridge away, that bridge is going to collapse. This bridge, I mean for us as a definition that sits inside. The definition needs to sit together as a bridge. Akhri Naam was the one that was presented to us. And Bhai Veer Singh says that when will this Akhri Naam become universal Naam? When will that universal Naam be approached? Well, in the fourth state that is attained, which is called Turiya Pad, that is when the understanding of the universal Naam comes. I want to give you a little example, just to move a little past. In that same 40, just as a little aside, how does it start? You all know it, you read it every day. That Asankhanav, Asankhatab, Agam, Asankhalo. What does that mean? Agam. I think what Guru Maharaj has said, and has been mentioned in the Tika as well, is that there's other worlds. And Japji Sahib has said this in other parts, like Kete Karam Bhumiya. The Karam Bhumi, this is a Karam Bhumi where you place your karma seeds. And there's lots of other places where there's life existing. And Agam, it's way further than your mind's reach. Your mind will not be able to comprehend them. They're that far. So if Naam, Vin Nave Nahi Ko Tham, then I also believe that Naam is present and there's other beings in other worlds connecting with it as well. And Japji Sahib mentions that as well. When they start traveling the realms, they're hiding the Vasta and they're going up in realms in terms of the Vasta, then Maharaji's also said, Tathe Bhagat Vasahe ke loa. Ke, just a K with the lam, means that kinniya lokan de bhagat utthe vasde hai. Meaning from other worlds. So I'll quote Yoda for a little bit. Is that luminous beings we are, not this crude matter. Right? You must feel the force all around you, here, between you and me and the trees. Right? It's way more than what has been mentioned in Star Wars. But what does Baba Teja sing? Now, a lot of what I've said so far has been translated into English. So this is for the people, and this will also add something on to give you a bit more understanding and appreciation of Nam, is what Baba Teja sings. He wrote this in English, so I didn't need to translate this. Before I quote him, I want to show you the pankti that he translated. And this pankti, some people will translate this, and again, I'm not going to cut the translation. The translation stands as well. They'll say, Eko naam hukum hai. They say there's only one command. It's to recite the name of God. And that stands. That's perfectly all right. Nanak Satgur diya bujai jiyo. Now my true Guru, Guru Maharaji says, my true Guru has given me this realization. He's given me this understanding. But this is the way that Baba Teja Singh, a Sant Mahatma that has come to this land as well. And he translates this in his own English words. The whole universe is governed by his immutable means unchanging, immutable law, hukum, and is the outcome of a spoken word, Nam. His name reference to Nam, pervades all space in its immensity, Baba Teja Singh. What are we adding to understanding? That when Nam was given to this creation, or created this creation, and sits within this creation, what also does it do? That it's a law. It's a hukum. It's keeping its structures. There's powers the power of Nam is governing how everything is forming and orbiting and doing what it's doing in this universe. If there's constants that people derive in the universe, it's because of Nam. Why is it that we'll value education when it's Nam that deserves that value? Basain Nam amol, Kim na koi jaan do. Guru Maharaji says over and over again, it reminds us, you can never fully appreciate Nam and understand Odi Keemat. And you can't put a Keemat on it. Well, you have to have a starting point. You don't need to be tricked by other people about what Nam is. Our Mahatma are the people the straight A students are telling us already. Sant Baba Varyam Singh Ratware Wale. God revealed his power, which is called Nam. This Nam energy is within everything it is omnipresent, everywhere. Without Nam energy, nothing would exist in its structure or have its dynamics. Nothing would exist in its structure. You spill milk, and the milk just spreads itself. But when creation spread itself, it formed. Gravity took its spot. Planets started to orbit stars. Everything. It's because of Nam. So Nam is the bridge that connects. There's a pankti here that I want to share with you. Can you please recite it with me? Har Nam aradha hai. Nam vakhan hai. Name hi man rata. So Khalsa ji, look, Nam is mentioned so many times here, but it's addressed, both of the Nams here. Har Nam aradhe, that's the Akhri Nam that you're to recite. Nam vakhan hai. What's the translation of vakhan hai? Some people, when they'll say vakhan hai, which is also right, they'll say odi katha karni, right? And then some will say that it means Nam japana, Nam japana. Some will say Bakhyan karna, Katha karni, to talk about it, right? You learn more, that you can say more about it. They all stand. But the one that I will tell you is Vakanahe or Vakan. It means to reveal. That when you recite the Lord's name, the Naam will be revealed to you. That universal Naam that has created everything. Namehi Manarata. And that Naam, when you feel its presence and you come into contact with it, you will be imbued, you'll be intoxicated by that Naam. And whether that dukh, taklif that you have and that you've carried as a burden will all of a sudden subside. Now, Guru 101. Let's take a look at our Guru Sahib. Why is Gurbani, Baniya, Sirbani? Well, we have to look at other Bani then. The other Bani that we have to address, let's look to the Quran a little bit. Because Maharaji's talked about this as well. With Hazrat Muhammad, he's mentioned him. Guru Gobind Singh Ji's mentioned him. Jai Prabhu Parma Purkho Bajai. And he's pretty much put a lot of the prophets and whoever has been holy into this one line. When Paramatma, Par Brahm, brought about holy beings onto this earth that called themselves messengers or prophets and so forth. Maybe they were doing some good, but they all strayed and they started their own path. They hid something from their followers that God was not pleased with. Mahadeenata Prabhu Uparaja. Then God sent Mahadeen, Muhammad, to this world. Where did he send him? Arabades ko Kino Raja. To become the king of the Arabic lands, of Arabia. Tin pi ek panth uparaja. But him still, he started his own path as well. And this is Akal Purkh giving this message to Dushdaman. Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And Maharaji is talking about this in his biography in Vichitranatak. And what was it that Paramatma was not pleased with? In Sankhep Shabds, Akal Purkh says, Ling bina kine sab raja. Well, there's a tradition following down, a Jewish tradition of circumcising. Only khandan nahi kita. He was afraid that he would lose his followers. He carried on that tradition. And he said that it's necessary. But Maharaji's also said, in Vichitranatak, that Preet kare prapayit hai, which is very similar to the Pankti in Twa Prasad Saveye that we read in our Nitnem. That it's because of love that you will find Paramatma. But listen to the next part of the line. Kripalna pijit land katai. The Kripalu Paramatma, the one that gives blessings, he is not pleased when people cut that portion off the male organ. When they circumcise, Maharaji is not pleased with it. Sabat Surat Distar Sira. Guru Maharaj is told that population, and as a Sanjay Updesh to the Gursikh Sangat as well, but to the Muslims, when he talked to him, he told them, Sabat Surat Distar Sira. That's what I want you to keep. Sabte apna naam japayo. What do they do? Right in the mornings, at Amrit Vela, they will say, God is great. There is no God except the one God. That's fine. So far we're good. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God. That Paramatma is not pleased with. Or you have to bear witness every morning that he's the messenger? Couldn't it just be that God is great and God is one? But Maharaji is not pleased with that. How Muhammad's name becomes attached with God's name. And that's what Maharaji's words. And this is where we're coming to. Sabte apna naam japayo. That's what I referenced. And Satnam kahu nantradayo. The eternal Naam. He did not solidify it amongst his Parokar, amongst his followers. He did not solidify it. Look, when we go through Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, is there an ang where there's no reference to Naam? Naam is being solidified in the Gursikhs. Naam di vyakhya hoi jandi hai. You're reciting different names of God. Yes, in the Quran, you'll come across certain panktiyan about telling you to worship God in different names. But there's like 1 or 2 lines that come. How is that actually solidifying it? It's saying it in a whole mesh of other things. And then what happens is that tat, that essence is not emphasized. Jesus has mentioned him as well too. As saying, Naam, hallowed be thy name. And he's mentioned that live by the name of God. Rather than the bread when he was tested by Satan. But again, it's not emphasized. That Naam is emphasized. We don't need these profound sayings. People will say that, oh, this person quoted this, try to beat this saying. No, does it have Naam? I'm getting to this, but this is why we needed to discuss it. Now, Guru Nanak Dev Ji would tell by Mirdana, Rabab Baja. Rabab Baja. Why, Guru Maharaj Ji? No, Turumbani hondi hai. Prathai Sakhi Mahapurkh bol de. But the Maharaj Ji would tell people, Updesh through that Shabd, but that Shabd would be immersed with Naam. Now imagine, you see that glow for some of the kids that are here, they'll get used to that. Nobody will ever explain that aura. That's the light of God. Jot Roop Harab Guru Nanak Kahayo. It's the light of God. Guru Nanak Dev Ji changed bodies. But did Guru Angad Dev Ji say Angad in Gurbani? He chose the name of Nanak. The Mahalla changes to tell you the body changes. But within that Shabd, the Nanak stays the same. Kyunki Jot Roop Har Aap, Guru Nanak Kahayo. The light of God chose to use the name of Nanak. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji. The Prakash is not around the head only. It's around the whole body. There's Qazi Rukuddin in Mecca. What does he do? He comes. And he asks questions. Over 300 questions. Jinnat che tak odi tasalli nahi hoi. When he was fully satisfied, then what happened? He realized this is Paramatma. And he wanted Guru Maharaj's Charan Paul. But before Maharaj's Charan Paul, he looked upon Maharaj's feet and he saw dust. Because that land is pretty much dust. Desert. And he wanted to clean it first with his mouth. He went to clean it, but just touching Maharaj's feet with his lips, he went, that Naam Shakti that's pervading all around Guru Maharaj. It's coming from Maharaj, that's coming from the Sabadaton Oankar. That Oankar, when it comes, now main chalo akhri de lakh deta, but it's formless. When it comes as a ton. And when it comes through the mouth of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, he recites it as gurbani, it takes up letters, takes up sound, and the ton is immersed in there. When we say in Sukhmani Sahib, Gun Gobind Naam Ton Bani. The Naam Ton has been placed within the Bani. And that's what Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave to us. Be amazed, Khalsa Ji. What Guru Maharaj Ji gave to us, no. That's why Baniya Sir Bani. This Bani is way beyond anything else in the world. It's our link to connect with Paramatma. You cannot connect anywhere else. For other people, they just needed the Naam of Paramatma to take a name and recite it over and over again. But if they look towards their writings and their scriptures, they will not gain mukti. They will not connect with Paramatma. It's only Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji that can connect them. Qazi Rukuddin has gone into Samadhi. And the person who's writing this story says to him that, Otkar. He goes to him trying to get him up. And Maharaj Ji stopped him. Said him, let him stay in this bliss. Let him stay in this bliss. Eventually he would go, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, from that land, but not from the heart of Qazi Rukuddin. Maharaj Ji to prakash kar gaye andar. That Naam is going automatically. So this is within Qazi Rukuddin. And people found out that Qazi Rukuddin has taken Guru Nanak Dev Ji as his murshid. He's a follower. then what's the label we give him? Kafir. Kafir. He's an unbeliever. He does not believe in Allah. They don't understand he met Allah. Allah has come as the form of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Well, now they want to punish him. Well, go ahead. What can you do when the body is on the outside and he's connected with soul on the inside? Because they would lock him in a box. They did several things to him. They did a lot of things to him, actually. They locked him in a box, starved him. They hung him upside down, would bury him and leave his neck up, and then eventually they were going to stone him. And when they were going to stone him, they hear the name of God coming from him. They hear that tone coming from his body. And all of them are amazed, yet they still have the stone in their hand, and they're going to stone him. And he says, as my last words, I'll tell you that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is my religion, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is my God. He has brought the word, and he has the book of God with him. That's what he would say, is that he has it with him. And whoever seeks sanctuary with Guru Nanak Dev Ji will also be liberated. He says this, he leaves his body, and the stones also fall from the people's hands. What would happen here is that we read in Japji Sahib, Pavan Guru, Pavan Guru. Well, Bhai Gurdas Ji's elaborated. He said, remember that you need the air medium if you want to talk. So when Maharaj would speak, it would use that medium. Pavan Guru, Guru Sabad Sunaya. That's why we call it Guru. And through Pavan, through the air, Maharaj took that Anahat Shabd and produced it in the air and put the tone of Nirankar, of Ekonkar within that Shabd. And it was being collected together, so whoever recites that will also hear it. So the next step is listening to it. Whoever produces the same, your mouth, if you recite gurbani accurately, then what will happen? Your mouth will move the same manner that Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Pavitra Mukharband moved. You're already growing closer to Guru Maharaj in that manner. Now the next step is listening to it. So, moving on. Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and Asankhep Matri mein dasunga, I'm not going to tell the whole story. Guru Arjan Dev Ji has been given a hukum to go attend a cousin's wedding. And the other two brothers of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Baba Prithvi Chand, Baba Mahadev, munkar ho gaye. They turned it back. But Guru Arjan Dev Ji accepted. But he does not want to be separated. What happened here? The Bani that would be produced is Shabd Hazare. And the relationship is perfect. If you want to understand a relationship between a Chatrik and a Megha, between a cloud and a rainbird, and how that rainbird asks that cloud that Varso Kirpatar. Maharaj gives in letters, this has been so long. Come, call me back. Call me back. I don't want to be here any longer. Main tarsda to see your darbar, to see you, Guru Ramdas Sache Pasha. And Maharaj would open up and say, Tera mukh sohava jiyo, sahaj ton bani. That ton that's within the bani, Guru Arjan Dev Ji could read it. And was connected to it. And was producing that same bani by reciting this in the letter. This was the second letter that he would send back. As a translation, your blessed mouth governs so much beauty because in your words it contains a saj ton of Nam. Remember, Gun Govind, Naam ton Bani. You've been blessed with this Naam. You've been blessed with this Naam. Now let's move a little bit further. Ton Atmak to Varnatmak. When I said Guru Nanak Dev Ji has the Naam Ton, that was Naam Ton that took up flesh as Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And now I had to introduce it to the world, and then that ton that arises from that keeps Navas in our Atma, that comes out as Ton Atmak, takes language, Varnatmak. Right? And the Pankti is Sabde Upje, the Shabd, the Naam Ton that's within Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Savde Upje Amrit Bani. That Amrit Bani that we read in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Right? It was unrevealed. It was the omnipresent Shabd or Naam. And it appeared in human form as Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And then from Guru Ji, this omnipresent, formless Shabd arises as Amrit Bani, which has been preserved in Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Moving forward, and this is what I want you to, this is an analogy that I'm going to give to you right after this slide, is Amrit Naam, Thakur ka payo, jiska sab saadaro. That coming towards the final angs of Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Maharaj explains to the Sangat that within Guru Granth Sahib Ji, don't be confused, that I placed the Amrit Naam, that universal Naam that I've referenced to, Thakur ka payo. I have placed it within Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. There is not one spot in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji that if you don't repeat it, that you won't form a connection with that Naam. That you won't find that Naam. Every spot in Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji is the truth. It will connect you to the truth. But that abhyas and that sort is needed. So this is why this example is very important. And I've called it the Gurbani hyperlink analogy. And what it really is that you go into the computer and you know that if you see something blue like this or it's underlined, or when the mouse cursor turns into this kind of a hand, you know something's behind it. And that's what I want you to understand. When you look upon Guru Maharaj's Shabd on any ang of Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, know that it's a hyperlink. Think of it as kind of a hyperlink. There's a force behind it. There's an energy that's been called Naam, and you are to connect to it. However, if you read Gurbani and you want to access it, and what happens is other things might come up as well. And what are these other things? That whatever desires you hold in your mind and you're clicking it, then those desires get completed. For houses, property, paise. Some people kamna rakh ke paat kar diya. That kamna means they have desires behind while they're reading Gurbani. But that's a pitfall. And that pitfall will keep you separate because those things that will be granted through Maya can also take you away from Paramatma. That's like when we click on something, you know those ads that pop up? Yeah, ads pop up, and eventually somebody says, oh wow, this store, I should click on it as well, and you forget, what was I really searching for again? These kind of things happen. You lose your goal. The goal that you have set, you've forgotten about it. You need to learn how to click on those shabds. How do you click on it? Well, what is that cursor anyways? That cursor is your sword. This is your awareness. Awareness keh do, consciousness keh do, right? Chetana keh do. It is your awareness. Right now you're listening to my voice. Now place your attention to who's listening to that voice inside of you. When you do, you push away from your ears and you go into awareness. That awareness sits with you, but it's in a very impure form. Because it keeps telling you that you're you. Right? Through your cognition and so forth. But Surt, we want our Surt to go this way. Surt, that should be an error, not an equal sign. That's not a definition. That's the way the Surt should go. So Surt is your awareness. And that awareness is using your eyes and your ears to read Gurbani and listen to it, and your mind to translate it. For what purpose? It builds a concentration. That you want to be savdhan ekagar chit. Ekagar means one-pointedness. One-pointedness. You want your attention, your concentration to be so sharp that it can travel this road of your Surt. This road, this path of your Surt that travels it, because it's a very sharp path where Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar are going to come after you. You can only ask for Guru Maharaj's assistance along this path. But this concentration travels down that path of our awareness. And Bhagat Kabir Ji, this is not Amrit Bani. This is in other writings of Bhagat Kabir Ji, but he said this very beautiful line that I wanted you guys to understand as well. Deepen our understanding is that tu surat Nan Nihar. Tu Surat Nan Nihar means look with the eyes of your Surat. Look with the eyes of your Surat. Another Pankti is that Guru Maharaj Ji says, Jal thal mahil gupton varte. Maharaj Ji explains that He's hidden from our eyes, but yet He's everywhere. God is everywhere. He's hidden from our eyes, yet He's everywhere. You want to see Him? Gur sabdi dekh nihari jiyo. Use the shabd that Guru Nanak Dev Ji has given you, what our Guru Sahiban has given us. In Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, use that shabd, use that surat, and this is our technique. This is the technique Guru Maharaj Ji has blessed us. If somebody comes preaching Naam to you and they don't touch on this, tonu adhura hi chhad ditta. They haven't touched on something. A Gursikh should wake up and know what I'm doing in my life that's affecting my sur from the beginning to the end of the day. Because when you wake up in the morning, what's left from your other day will come with you. That's affected your sur. If your sur khand diya koi cheez na, ask what can keep my sur intact. Is hanging out with this person keeping my sur intact? Is it breaking my concentration? If you constantly ask yourself this, then you will always be giving dhyan towards your sur, about what will make it stronger. And Bhai Veer Singh has translated sur. Oh, maaf karna. Bhai Veer Singh has translated it. Charti kala as when toda sur balwan hove. When your sur, your concentration falls down the path of awareness, and it gains greater strength. Right now it's so fragile. Right now you're fighting to keep concentration here. It's fragile. It's very fragile. You start doing Simran after 5 minutes, things are popping up in our head. That sort is fragile. But what is coming in your head? That you need to ask yourself. And Bhai Veer Singh says in a very beautiful manner, Naam gurbani anusar dohan da melan har hai. Arthat, meaning that Naam is the bridge that will connect you to Nami, the source. Arthat, dohan de vichale melan har satya hai. This is the truth that will connect you. Take your sur, our consciousness, which is in a very impure form, but it has purity. Once you travel further, it gains purity through the anchor of Guru Maharaj Ji's Shabd. Then you arrive at what has been called God consciousness or Shuddha Chetan Swarup, which is Par Brahm Paramatma. Sat Chetan Anand Swarup. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was asked when Sai Lok, the beloved people of Paramatma, came and they started asking Guru Nanak Dev Ji in Kartarpur. This quote comes from Janam Sakhi, word for word translation. Galtiyan pulchak maaf karniya. But tab Guru Baba Babe Nanak Ji ne kaya. And this was the translation. Within our psyche, which has been called Antishkaran or Antahkaran, we can realize the unstruck word. Unstruck. Doesn't need any medium. Doesn't need any assistance. It's the word of God. God is that word. Nami, Nam. Day and night, all 8 quarters of the day, it sounds without the assistance of any medium. It resounds in an effortless, automatic manner. When the mind's concentration using the Gur Shabd reaches the level of awareness or level of consciousness where it binds to the tun, the resonance. Now look, when Maharaj is asked, who is your Guru? And who is your Guru? Maharaj would respond, Sabad Guru, Surat Ton Chela. Ton. This is the ton. The ton is initially produced by reciting gurbani, but it takes a different form. It takes up a different form when it becomes that formless ton of Naam. Where it binds to that ton, that resonance of the Shabd, there is countless and various sorts of music, rapture and bliss that follow. You get Naam, you get everything. You find Naam, you get everything. Everything is cleansed. There's no depression. You'll not seek for any sort of pleasure in this world, Nam will become everything. Nam will be your food. Nam will be your friend. It will become your livelihood. This is the word, Shabd, of Almighty, the Immaculate Lord, Par Brahm. So what adjective? What adjective that could describe Nam? Why do I say this? Because there's a common question that comes up. Is Nam created or destroyed? Well, Tan Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji answers this. Naam Rahayo. This is in the Bani of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji while he sits in a cage in Delhi and he's responding to the Sikh Sangatan in a letter form, and he's giving them sachai, giving them purity, giving them a way out of this janjal of the world, the entanglements of the world. And he tells them that you don't have to worry. This world will all go. You don't be worried about my body. This world will all go. Your body will go. But that doesn't mean that you have to go with it. Cling to Nam. Nam will remain. So the sadhus who connected with it, Naam Connects. The sadhus who connected with it and the Guru who revealed the Naam, they will be still here. And Bhai Pardeep Singh is probably doing Katha right now. So he said this in Katha and he elaborates on this very, very nicely as well. He says, Jado kuch bhi nahi si, odon bhi shabd si. Jado kuch bhi nahi rahega, odon bhi shabd rahega. Translation? When there was nothing, there was the shabd, the Naam. And when nothing will remain, even then the shabd will remain. Marji said it so beautifully. Utpat parlo sabde hove. Sabde hi fir opat hove. Marji even tells us that creation comes, creation is destroyed, and then creation is made again. And what is it made with? Shabd. What is the name for that which remains without perishing in the past, present, and future? The adjective that I was looking for. Remember, this is an adjective, a visheshan, but it can stand as a noun as well too. And what is it? What is that past, present, future? What stays? So there's a line that explains this. Trey kal bad tung satattung. And that means sat. Sat. Permanent. Eternal. That remains. Sat Naam. Sat Naam Sri Vahe Guru Sahib Ji. Kirtam Naam Kathe Tere Jehba. Marji said within this Bani in Maru Rag that I've told about your action names. I've given action names. Aaj Jeevna mein kathan kite hai. But remember, Sikh Sangat, I'm telling everybody, Guru Maharaj says, Satnam Tera Para Purbala. Now, Para has been translated as Parabani. There's been a lot of translations. But I'm going to use one translation that says Para Kaleje Sheikh. And there, Para means has been. There has been, in that Pankti means there has been holes that have been placed inside of me. But here, Satnam Tera, your eternal Nam, Satnam, eternal Nam, has been here, has been Para Purbala from the very beginning. It's been here from the very beginning, before mankind arose. It's been there. Nam was directing creation. Nam was directing this population in the manner that would form all the genomes, chromosomes that you guys learn about in your school. It was Nam. Maharaj said, Murto shuru karo. If you want to teach education, Pandey, fir das Oankar Brahma Utpat. It was that Sabdaton Oankar that created everything. And Maharaj, we read in Japji Sahib, when Maharaj says, what is true? The Sikhs are asking, what is true? What is eternal? Sacha Sahib. And Maharaj also adds, Sach Nai. Nami and Nam. They're both eternal. And they're both Nirankar, Paramatma. And this is from the Bijak of Bhagat Kabir Ji, which is Bani that's not in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, but he's elaborated a lot. As that's from the ray, which is truth. Nam. Truth, Nam, Satnam. Streams of new forms are perpetually springing. Nam's creating beings all over this universe. and different realms as well. And from them, beings are arising. He pervades those forms as well. The creator, such as, let's take an example, Leonardo da Vinci creates the Mona Lisa. Is Leonardo da Vinci in the Mona Lisa? No, the creator creates, and then he places himself inside of it. Nam creates, Paramatma as Nam creates, and then he places Nam inside of them. How beautiful is this kid? How niyari. Even a person says, oh, I'm like Paramatma, I create. Well, can you place yourself inside of your creation? No, you cannot. You are not like Paramatma. In that sense. Atma Group te to tusi jande hain. Nam experience only go. This is the area where I stop. I can't say anything further. Mere ko to koi vasta hi nahi. I'm like that ladle in the gurdwaras that taking dal and placing on people's plates. In the end, I stay empty. But I'm trying to leave you guys with something to take home with you. Is that only Gurmukhs can tell. And the first Gurmukh that I can turn to is Bhai Pardeep Singh. When he was asked this question, what is Nam? And he responded. He said, Nam is more than just a word. For Bhagat people, Nam is their soul's food, their source of energy, faith, friend, family, love. It's everything. But Nam cannot be fully described. Only those that have tasted it can tell you how great it is. Naam ki mehma, Sant Riddh bas hai. It exists. The mehma, the greatness of Naam exists with the saints. And he even explained, and Bhai Pardeep Singh was a saint. I have no hesitation in telling you. He's told about experiences about, is Naam visible? If this question you were to ask to Bhai Pardeep Singh, is Naam visible in heightened spiritual states? And he would say that there's an individual, and he said, I looked and saw that all around him there was a force field of energy. I was surprised to see this and learn that truly when someone is full of Naam, then the power comes in their body. But also all around them, outside of their body too. This is his words. We look at these Mahapurush, Karni wale Mahapurush, जिन्होंने कमाई की थी. A lot of this has been passed down and told by all of them, and all of them parallels what I've been mentioning using gurbani pramans. I'm coming to the end of the lecture. Is that if we were to look inside and glimpse and see what they would see, what would they describe it as? When you ask them, they say, going into samadhi, you get to go into Sachkhand. These are words of individuals that have done this. You get to go into a realm of truth. It is so beautiful there. It is Naam all around. And now, when you hear this, you'll be like, okay, that's his words. Now we have to hear Gurbani. But let's hear another Gurmukh. A classic that I hope that everybody at least keep in your homes. Buy it at least. There has been writings in the English literature that people, put on their shelves because it's a masterpiece. Whether it's Shakespeare, John Milton, Paradise Lost, you name it. These people will keep these writings. But everybody should keep Rana Surat Singh. Bhai Veer Singh wrote it. And maybe one day, Marge will take you towards that book and get you to open it and tell you a ride of a woman that has lost her husband and she goes through all the khans looking for her husband. And I didn't know about this book. When Bhai Pardeep Singh passed away, I was at there was a kirtan at their house, and after the Gurmukhs collected together and started talking, and they were talking to Bhai Pardeep Singh's dad, and they were mentioning, I still embedded it. I went right home and wrote it on my computer, all the whole conversation that happened. But sankhep roop de vich mein bahut samay nahi lana, is that they said that there's a Singh, he said that you should read Rana Surat Singh. And he was explaining that Bhai Pardeep Singh was something else. But something else meaning that he's beyond what you see in this world as just a body. And he was explaining that it's in the same manner as the Rani went through the different khans, looking for her husband. To gain understanding of those realms, he had mentioned Rana Surat Singh. So I looked around, finally got it. And there's a line that comes in Rana Surah Singh that I wanted to share with you. Bhai Pardeep Singh. It's in all poetry. Maybe manga. But you can turn to people to help you out translate it. It'll be worthwhile. Vani sukam at sukam purneo. That as my thoughts become more still and discreet, ithetare roop bodh anupam. Anupamam. That Bani Naam is coming about in more grandeur. It's taking up a beauty that cannot be placed into any word. Naam is becoming Pargat. Naam is being revealed. And the Bani that talks about such kind, there's countless times in Guru Maharaj, there's different shabds that comes in Guru Granth Sahib Ji that talks about such kind. And Sukham mail jaake uch duare, tame vase bhagat pyare, tam maran ne jeevan sog na harkha. And what does Guru Maharaj Ji say? Sach naam ki amrit varkha. Just like rain showers down. And that shower is the pleasant rain that you go out and say that sprinkling coming down. That you would even walk through. You would even walk through to enjoy. That's as an analogy that's been given that in Sachkhand, Sach Naam di Amrit Varkham di Yote. Right? Naam and Nami, there you will see. And Ant Parspar, meaning that in the end, you taking Naam as your bridge and Nami will become one. Ant odi apedta ho jandi hai, they become one. Kalyan Mahalla Chotha. Jyo Suraj Kiran Ravya Sarb Thai Sab Kat Kat Ram Ravijay. In the same manner, the sun sends out his sun rays and sunlight. It's the same manner that Guru Maharaj has explained, but sunlight kat jandi hai. When it goes, it might become a dimsel twinkle. But naam nahi katta koi tha. Right? Just like the rays of the sun spreads out to every place. This is an analogy, and this prakash is nothing compared to what Maharaj's prakash is. It's just so the sarota can learn to understand and appreciate it. Deepen your appreciation. Leave today by saying Naam is everything. And I need to connect to him more. Sachkhand, this is Gyani Kirpal Singh, I forgot to mention him, Boprai Kala. He came and did Katha here too, and his avastha was very great. And he wrote very openly about different things about Shabds. All the Shabd, how a Shabd is mentioned in every form in a book of his. He's written 5 books. And he said, Sachkhand vasai nirankar hundeya hoye bhi kat kat basi sarb nabasi hai. This is the story I want to leave with you. Bhai Pardeep Singh wrote about another experience, but he cloaked it under the name. It was his experience, but he gave the name Ek Naam Rasiyasi. He wrote this in his masterpiece called Guru Nanak Academy. And he talks about Khands very openly there. Just like Rana Suraj Singh. What happened is his abhyas was growing. And Na Simran Chalayas, he was praising the Lord in such bliss that a figure appeared before him. A figure came before him, an angelic being that he would refer to as Amma. This Amma angel, or Mother Angel, I would say now, as an English translation, told him and things that he needed to know for his Atmak Avastha. He was confused what Avastha he's in, what Khand he's in. He would ask these questions, and this is all in writing. And he would ask her that the bliss that I feel here, is it just on this tarti? Is it anywhere else? Remember I was mentioning Agam, Asankalo. What Bhai Pardeep Singh would get a ride like no other. Right away, this question would be asked, and he said that the speed that I took up was more than a thought wave, more than a blink, that I was jolted across the universe. And as I jolted across the universe, Anand, Ras, all went through my body. It just went right through my body as I was going through, holding on to this angel. And as he's going, he said that while I was on earth, the stars that I look upon the night sky, right now we have, what is it called, light pollution. Light pollution blocks out a lot of the stars nowadays here. But back then you could see the night sky very nicely because electricity not being around that much. And he would look upon the night sky, and he would say that all the stars and all the amazement that I look upon the night sky, I was going past it. I was going past it in between those galaxies, those planets and stars and so forth. And then he arrived and he gave this definition. He was 50 light years away from this Tarti. He arrived at a Tarti, he said that it was not of mineral and it was not of soil. It was of illumination and fire. The planet, 50 light years away. He arrives on this planet and the angel brings him to a place where he says, Ain japta si jis tarah sangat japti hai. But I can't say it's exactly the same. But he says, Ain japta si. He uses japta, meaning it was very similar. And then he says, Ain japta si, or rag karde si, rag kirtan karde si. And he says, मैं एक चीज वास्ते जापदा नहीं कहूँगा, ओ जरा रस मैनू ओही आया गुरबानी दे विचों जिस तरह आउंदा. Remember the hyperlink. It might arrive in different language there on those planets, but it's still that shabd that we call our Guru. That Nam shabd that connects you to the source. Bhai Pardeep Singh would experience this. And he would tell his experience under the name of a Naam Rasiya within the Chamatkar. They can do this. We can do this with Guru Maharaj's kirtan. And he would ask a question there. And he's like, is this a khand? Which, I mean, you can imagine how many questions are coming out at this point. He says, is this a khand? Is this the khand that I mentioned in Japji Sahib? And he would say, Maaf karna, Amma, the angel would say that no, those khands don't have form like the forms that are here, and don't have the material that is here that make up all these planets and stars. It's different, but yes, it is a place as well too. It is a place as well too. But I'll use the word formless, because the formless is not in the manner that you're doing, looking with these eyes, because everything's through these eyes. Right? Touch and feel and so forth, sensory organs, Gyanendriya. It's all through this eyes. But it's way above what you would ever experience from any part of this universe. It's way above that. And where all of them accumulate, where all the bhagats come, in Karam Khan, they'll come together to go together into such Khan. How amazing is that? This is the Bani that you read every day, Japji Sahib. Right? We just go through the Khans, or who knows where our concentration goes by the end. Right? That Anahat Sur Ujyara. I put a pankti like this because Anahat Sur, that means there's a limitless Surj Ujyara, that Deepak Jale Shanshara, that any diva, any light, any sun's rays is dimmed in the midst of the light that is produced in such kind. It's nowhere close. That's limitless. This is all has a limit. Everything, this is not Sat. But Sat exists within it that you can connect to. So the final slide is this. And congratulations, you made it to the end. Maybe some of you might wanted to leave, but you couldn't because it's kind of hard to leave now, right? But anyways, you bared with me, thank you. Is that the three ends to take with you. Nami, Nam, and Name. Name not like your name, like my name, Pardeep. No, not that name. Name like your nit name. It's name embodies Maryada. Guru Maharaj is pleased with Maryada when it's done with devotion. You follow what Guru Maharaj says. He tells you about hair. He tells you about Sabat Suraj. It all is so you can connect with Nam. In the end, it's all with Nam, because that bridges you to Paramatma. Nam is Paramatma. So Nami, the source, is Paramatma. Nam, whether in the form of Akhri or the universal Vyapak Nam. And name, the name that you have to keep so you get to Nam. You can access it through your Surt. Surt in itself is a long lecture. But forgive me for my mistakes. But again, I want you to have a greater understanding. And what was the reason that we started out? The objective is that greater understanding leads to a greater appreciation. The next time you go to Guru Granth Sahib Ji, look at Maharaji as the whole creator of the Brahman, of stuff that you don't even know about. stuff that this is less than 1% what has been told by Mahatma of what you see. Less than 1%. There's way beyond your imagination of what exists. Yet, we're getting stuck in all this. It does not make sense. It does not make sense. So what I tell you is this, for myself, this Naam lecture, I have to give myself after a couple of months. Because you know what Maya does? Maya in increments destroys you. Anything you gain here, you won't see a sudden, maybe it might come as a sudden attack upon you on your spiritual level tomorrow. Otherwise, it happens in increments. Maya robs you in increments so you can't sense it. Before a month is gone away, you'll be doing things that you promised that you wouldn't be doing. It robs you. So that's why sticking to your name, and name is praying. You have to keep love with you. And that's why going over these lectures are very important as well. So you can refamiliarize yourself and deepen your love, deepen your appreciation for Naam. Because then if you start with this on the road further, it's going to automatically, with what Margie reveals, it's automatically going to become a great appreciation of what God has given you. And then you'll be thankful so much to Guru Maharji that a being like me that was filled with filth, you still looked upon me and carried me. And that's why you've been called Patit Pavan. You take people that have destroyed their lives, yet you don't look at what they've destroyed it with, and you can still pick them up and become pure. The road and the ticket to becoming Nirmal is Naam. That path is to Naam. And the path is Sabad Sul. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.